Okay. Namaste and welcome, beloved mighty companions. Oh, I might have to ask to unmute Marco so he can speak. Hi, Marco.
Hi. How are you?
Really good. What a joy to be with you tonight.
Likewise.
Greg and Jeannie and Adolpha, we're sending you big hugs out there. You can hear me okay, Marco, and we're ready to go for God?
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Okay. So, welcome everyone.
Bienvenidos a todos.
So, this is just a conversation, a gentle conversation with Jesus.
Esto es solo una conversación suave con Jesús.
And one of the most beautiful things for me, because I have had all these ideas about Jesus.
Y es una de las cosas más bellas para mí porque tengo todas estas ideas maravillosas acerca de Jesús.
I'm glad I got past all those ideas.
Me alegra haber trascendido todas esas ideas.
You know, I've told many of you when I just started typing one day, that's it, just typing in a new covenant. I didn't know it was a book, right? And I'm just typing.
Un día empecé a escribir y no me di cuenta que era un nuevo convenio, y solamente
And somehow, however the mysterious ways that Jesus worked, it just became a conversation with Jesus and just talking to him and asking him questions.
Y de alguna forma esto se convirtió en una conversación con Jesús, de hacerle preguntas.
For me, right, to learn from him.
De mi parte, para aprender de él directamente.
And it's complete happiness to say he is saying that is all he's offering to every single one of us.
Y es una absoluta felicidad oírlo decir que es lo que él está ofreciéndole a cada uno de nosotros.
Is a very gentle conversation with him so he can show us how insane we are.
Es una conversación muy agradable para que él nos pueda mostrar qué tan locos estamos.
The biggest impediment to all of what I'm going to talk about tonight is that we don't want to talk to Jesus.
El impedimento más grande de todo lo que vamos a hablar esta noche es que no queremos hablar con Jesús.
He gives us this big book so that we'll talk to him about what's in here. That's what he's available for 100%.
Nos da un gran libro acerca de lo que ya está dentro de nosotros y es de lo que él habla 100%.
And so then he knew we'd probably be overwhelmed by that big of a book. So he made a Reader's Digest version in a new covenant.
y él sabía que íbamos a estar agobiados con ese libro.
For me, because
entonces él hizo un convenio.
There are some things I needed to take a deep look with him, particularly in the relishing of desire, the desire not to be light.
Y lo hizo por mí, porque había algunas cosas que él tenía que ver conmigo, sobre todo el deseo que tengo de atesorar o saborear el sufrimiento.
And to see all the desires to avoid talking to him, avoid happiness like the plague.
Y ver todos esos deseos que yo tengo de evitar hablarle y evitar hablarle como si fuera la plaga.
And all that avoidance is going to do is make you feel fearful. It's to keep the desired experience for fear.
Y toda esa, se puede decir como lo que vamos a experimentar al evitar todo esto es el poder deshacernos del deseo de estar disfrutando el sufrimiento.
So you might hear a little voice up here going, I don't want fear. I want not to be in fear. And it'll go like that.
Puedes estar escuchando una pequeña voz diciendo, no, no quiero el temor. Aquí arriba,
You will not believe how happy you're going to be to find out that fear is below the level of awareness in the subconscious mind is a desired experience.
y no vas a caber de gusto al darte cuenta que el temor y lo que está bajo el nivel de conciencia es el deseo de experimentar precisamente temor.
If you read through a new covenant or you read through A Course in Miracles, even you're going to see how he says everything that you feel, everything that you're getting is a desired experience. It's a wish list.
Y lo vas a leer en el curso de milagros, que todo lo que estás sintiendo, todo lo que estás experimentando es una experiencia que estás deseando, absolutamente todo.
So now through a new covenant, for me, he just helped me concentrate it down and distill it down to where, and showed a way that we could look at desire and to see how we desired all these experiences.
Y lo que él hace conmigo en este nuevo convenio es que él va a mostrarme este deseo que yo tengo de experimentar carencia o temor.
Now, in enlightenment, this is a big thing. It's a big play in enlightenment for fear, to have an experience of fear.
Can you repeat that again, please?
Well, in when people talk about enlightenment, oh, it's a big scary deal to go through being enlightened, that kind of thing. For some beings, they report this.
Ok, para algunas personas, el iluminar su mente puede ser algo muy aterrador.
Yet it's really valuable to ask Jesus, which is the symbol of the light within, is fear necessary for spiritual awakening?
Sin embargo, es necesario preguntarle a Jesús directamente que si el temor se necesita para tener conciencia espiritual.
And you can hear him because we're all Jesus. We all can speak to the light. That's our natural voice. You listen carefully, you'll hear it tell you, no, fear is not necessary for spiritual awakening.
Y lo vas a escuchar directamente porque Jesús es la voz de todos nosotros, de nuestra conciencia, decirnos que no, el temor no es necesario para iluminarse espiritualmente.
Okay, it's the way that consciousness keeps the dive going into the dream bubble with using fear.
Es la forma. Can you repeat that again, please?
It's the way, well, you know what? I'm going to do a screen share so I can show you the dream bubble and talk about it.
Okay, vamos, okay.
Okay,
Esta es la burbuja del sueño y le está mostrando para que podamos visualizar a lo que se refiere.
Okay, so we're going to focus on this light. That's your first assignment. As you're starting the spiritual journey, it's recommended you start with the light, start with what's infinite.
Al inicio de nuestra búsqueda espiritual empezamos con la luz, con lo infinito.
The light that lights everyone that's born.
La luz que ilumina a toda persona que nace en este mundo.
And then you start to see that there's a desire for something. You see this outer ring? That's desire for something other than light.
Y entonces empezamos a ver que hay un deseo por algo más que no es la luz.
Now, if you just search our channel, or we'll put it both in WhatsApp for Spanish, and we'll put a version in English in our messenger group for this dream bubble.
Ok, vamos a mostrar la misma imagen para lo que es español, los hispanoparlantes y también para los que están en el Messenger.
So you can watch the whole thing, but I suggest we'll put the PDF or the JPEG out for you too. So you print that. So when we're talking about it, you can follow along.
Para que podamos ver a lo que nos estamos refiriendo, vamos a compartir el PDF o el JPG para que podamos visualizar toda esta conversación.
Because Jesus has a lot to say about this dream bubble.
Porque Jesús tiene mucho que decir acerca de esta burbuja del sueño.
Okay. All right. So this is a ring. You can consider it like a little bubble that you blow because it's not real. It is not real.
Este es el sueño que lo puedes considerar como una pequeña burbuja que nosotros creamos porque no es real.
The only thing that's real is infinite light. Jesus tells the only reality is love itself.
Lo único que es real es la luz infinita.
Now, this is how it works. There's a desire for an experience other than light. So all this energy moves and dumps and tries to hide in the subconscious mind.
Pues aquí es como funciona. Hay un deseo para experimentar esto y
okay, and that what the subconscious is we pretended to be ignorant about our identity. That's what subconscious, it makes it seem like our identity is below our level of awareness.
Y a nivel subconsciente pretendemos ignorar lo que realmente somos porque funciona a un nivel bajo de nuestra conciencia.
But the truth of it is that any time of day, you can always notice that there's the holy infinite light here.
Pero la verdad de todo esto es que en cualquier momento del día siempre hay luz infinita disponible para nosotros.
When you look at anything from the perspective of infinite light, you can never feel fear. It's not possible.
Cuando observas desde la perspectiva de la luz infinita, no puede haber temor. Es imposible.
Now that's why you're invited by Jesus, or you can call it what you want, the Holy Spirit of the light, to come outside of this bubble and look toward the bubble with the light.
Y es lo que podemos hacer, es pedirle al Espíritu Santo para venir aquí afuera de la burbuja y observar desde la luz infinita.
If you're feeling fear, you have made a decision to dive into the dream bubble.
Si experimentas temor, es que has tomado una decisión de sumergirte a la burbuja del deseo.
So you have to see that you're making a decision for an experience of fear within the bubble.
Tienes que ver que estás tomando una decisión para experimentar este temor bajo el nivel de conciencia en esta burbuja de deseo.
And sometimes, and the way consciousness plays is to make fear seem like there's nothing I can do about it. It's just happening to me.
Y como funciona a nivel de juego de la conciencia es que tenemos este deseo subconsciente de experimentar temor y no sabemos ni cómo está pasándonos a nosotros.
So the addiction to the dream bubble is to have an experience that something is happening to a me.
Así que la adicción en esta experiencia de la burbuja es de tener un deseo de que algo está pasándome a mí.
My thoughts are real, my beliefs are real, my emotions are real, and my perceptions are all real.
Mis pensamientos son reales, mis creencias son reales, mis percepciones son reales.
And that's how I tell what's really happening.
Y es como yo me doy cuenta qué es lo que está realmente pasando.
Now, that's why we need to go outside of this dream bubble. And we have to go, outside the dream bubble and ask for Jesus's interpretation.
Es por eso que tenemos que ir fuera de esta burbuja de deseo y pedirle a Jesús que nos dé su interpretación.
Now, notice that the first step is desire, then you have thoughts, beliefs, and emotions, and emotion, and all these other things. See how it goes this way in these steps?
Observemos como lo primero que experimentamos de manera que vamos entrando a la burbuja es deseo, después tenemos pensamientos, creencias y significados. Lo pueden ver.
you are a powerful infinite being, therefore, and you are the source of all thought.
Eres un ser poderoso e infinito, así que en ti está este deseo de todo el pensamiento, de tener.
Now, one of the functioning of consciousness is the capability of focusing. It can either focus on the light or it can focus on misperception.
Y uno de los poderes que tienes es la función de elegir tu enfoque, ya sea la luz o las percepciones del mundo.
So all focus in all this is wrong-mindedness. Right-mindedness starts with the interpretation that comes from the light that has the big picture.
Cualquier enfoque que tengas dentro de la burbuja es una percepción errónea de la mente. Para obtener lo correcto, tenemos que salirnos de fuera del círculo.
So some of the traditional ways, looking at out at enlightenment is to spend time focusing and on the light itself within, because anybody can see it.
Una de las formas tradicionales de los que se ha practicado en la espiritualidad es simplemente enfocarse en la luz, porque todo el mundo lo puede ver.
And that will bring realizations and revelatory experience that the light is here. There's light, you can't get rid of it no matter how hard you try, it's here.
Y eso te va a traer experiencias revelatorias y algunas intuiciones, porque la luz siempre va a estar ahí.
And it's peaceful.
Y es muy pacífico.
But you'll be going to Jesus, but Jesus, where is the supreme happiness?
Y vas a ir con Jesús a preguntarle, Jesús, ¿dónde está la felicidad suprema?
And you'll hear a lot of beings talk about, oh, it's peaceful I saw that I was light and all this light, and then I'm not peaceful anymore.
Ok, bueno, y de repente te vas a dar cuenta que estás viendo luz y más luz, pero ya no te sientes tanta paz como antes.
Because consciousness is the desire for an experience of something other than light, and it relishes playing in this dream bubble.
Porque la conciencia es el deseo de una experiencia y disfruta mucho estar adentro de la burbuja experimentando todas estas cosas, pensamientos, emociones, percepciones, deseos.
But as soon as desires manifest into thoughts and beliefs and stories, you're going to start to have an experience of guilt and fear.
Pero tan pronto como empiezas a manifestar tus deseos en pensamientos, creencias e historias, vas a manifestar también este anillo de fuego que es temor y culpa.
Okay, and then consciousness acts like a pinball machine inside of itself, okay?
Y la conciencia funciona más o menos como esas máquinas donde se llaman pinball, que pues, disparas una bolita y empieza a rebotar por todos lados dentro de la burbuja.
It loves being in here, and then it's going, oh, I can have this emotion, then it tries to get a better emotion. It has some thoughts, it tries to get better thoughts, better stories. If I had a better story, I'd feel better.
Y le encanta estar allá adentro teniendo estas emociones y pensamientos y jugando con todas las percepciones dentro de la burbuja.
It just bounces in here, bing, bong, bing, bong, bing, and
Y
pretends
rebota.
like it's hard to get out.
Y rebota dentro de ahí con todas esas percepciones y emociones y pretendiendo que es muy difícil salirse.
So as long as you're playing in the pinball machine, you're going to have an underlying existential terror. Okay.
Y mientras te mantengas dentro de esta máquina de juego, ¿no? Dentro de la burbuja, vas a experimentar terror.
Because you're going to feel bereft of what you are, which is infinite light. This whole thing, this whole mechanism is a cocaine habit of wanting to get away from light.
Porque te vas a sentir privado de lo que es la luz infinita, porque todo esto lo que experimentamos adentro es una especie de adicción como a la cocaína para seguir teniendo experiencias o sensaciones.
So in order to keep the bubble going, it has to go, oh man, that light is spooky. It's coming to get me, Donna. The light's going to get me. The light's going to kill me.
Así que para mantener la burbuja funcionando, tenemos que pensar que la luz infinita es aterrorizante y mantenernos dentro de la burbuja.
God wants to punish me.
Dios quiere castigarme.
See, it's got to make up all the stories. See, it loves stories in here. See where the stories are? It loves that. It's going to make up a story about God coming to get me.
Sí, le encanta decir todas estas historias acerca de que Dios viene a castigarme.
It's a good practice. Go without any stories for a week and see how you feel.
Es muy buena práctica. Trata de ir sin ninguna historia dentro de la burbuja y
No,
ver cómo te va.
no stories about Jesus, no stories about God, no stories about your mother, your father, or your brother.
No historias acerca, ninguna historia acerca de Jesús o acerca de Dios o de tu hermano, de hermana, padres, etc.
So you can ask Jesus, do I need stories whatsoever?
Le puedes preguntar a Jesús, ¿necesito historias acaso?
So then this little beast here that we're pretending like is so wonderful because consciousness created a timeline. See, it's sneaky. It has a little seemingly timeline so you don't see what the beast really is. The beast is bouncing around inside of this bubble.
Sí, es una pequeña,
Okay.
como se puede decir, monstruito dentro de la burbuja que le encanta todas estas historias y le encanta estar rebotando dentro de la burbuja.
So first is the wanting. See the tiny mad idea? I want an experience that's not the light.
Lo primero que se manifiesta es el deseo de tener una experiencia que no es la luz infinita.
So it's fear, anxiety, depression. It's horrific in here and everybody's pretending like it's good.
Es temor, ansiedad, depresión, es horrorífico ahí adentro y todo el mundo está pretendiendo que no lo es.
It plays the game of I'm going to be happy in the future.
Y juega el juego de voy a ser feliz en el futuro.
Okay. But underneath that, see this guilt and fear is existential terror because it's not natural banging around up in here.
Pero bajo de todo esto, el juego es el terror existencial.
Okay, so if you want to have a fear-free enlightenment, you really think on the level you might say, I want a fear-free enlightenment. Of course, I would never make myself fear.
Si realmente quieres tener una experiencia libre de temor, una experiencia iluminadora libre de temor, tienes que darte cuenta de que aquí adentro estás diciendo, nunca quisiera tener temor.
I would never make myself sad. I would never make myself angry. See, that's how the talking head works.
Tienes que dar cuenta que allá adentro estás diciendo, no, nunca quisieras experimentar temor o tristeza. Es lo que te estás diciendo en la cabeza.
Yet, if you're willing to go down with the voice of the light within you and ask to be shown the desire, the relishing of fear, like, is that in my subconscious mind to relish the experience of fear?
Pero si estás dispuesto a pedirle a la luz infinita ir aquí abajo a esta burbuja y darte cuenta y preguntarle, ¿estoy realmente deseando experimentar todas estas cosas?
It is extremely it's extremely illuminating when you hear that voice tell you, you relish fear.
Es muy iluminador,
Yes,
muy esclarecedor escuchar la voz decirte que sí disfrutas mucho el experimentar temor.
Okay. The cool thing is if you stay with the relishing of the desire for fear and the wanting of it, that wanting eventually, it's pure expression of wanting that will burn out in the light of truth.
Lo bueno de esto es que si te decides ir a observar esto y experimentar este deseo de temor y todo eso, eventualmente eso se va a desvanecer.
So your mind is powerful and you can make a decision rather than having an experience of fear. You notice that you're relishing the experience of fear.
Ok, tu mente es lo suficientemente poderosa y en vez de creer que estás teniendo este deseo de experimentar temor, date cuenta que allá abajo lo estás saboreando.
Stay with the wanting of the desire for fear.
Permanece con este deseo de saborear el temor.
Okay. And that is before, if you stay with the wanting of fear and you're willing to change your mind about it. I am willing to change my mind that fear is valuable.
Okay, solamente permanece con este deseo de experimentar temor y
Okay. That is what in A Course in Miracles we call a miracle. A miracle is a change, is a decision to change the idea that pain and fear have value.
En el curso de milagros, lo que llamamos un milagro es darse cuenta de que tenemos este deseo de experimentar o de creer que el temor y el sufrimiento tiene algún tipo de valor.
So just try this experiment on next time you feel fear and just say, instead of saying, I feel fear, say, I'm desiring an experience of fear right now.
Ok, en vez de decirte que tienes temor, simplemente dite a ti mismo la próxima vez de que tienes este deseo de experimentar temor.
And I don't have to desire that.
Y no tengo que desear eso.
See, consciousness loves to feel like it's helpless to these things. It loves to feel like it's helpless to fear and sadness and depression. It loves feeling, it relishes feeling weak.
Sí, a la conciencia le encanta sentirse impotente acerca de estos deseos y los saborea de sentirse débil, temerosa.
So you don't have to buy into that. You just go, instead of saying I feel sad, go I'm relishing, I'm wanting an experience of, be willing to be shown that you really want that experience of sadness or fear or whatever's appearing.
Ok, pero no tienes que hacerle caso a tu conciencia, simplemente para y date cuenta y dite a ti mismo que tienes ese deseo de saborear esa experiencia de temor.
And you'll see how powerful your mind is.
Y te vas a dar cuenta qué tan poderosa es tu mente.
You'll recognize that it's you deciding. This is what the ego does not want to see. See, it doesn't want, it hides in the subconscious mind that all these experiences are wanted.
Ok, es para que te des cuenta qué tan poderoso es tu mente, que el ego esconde todos estos deseos de experimentar temor o saborear el temor, la carencia.
But you'll see how the qualitative difference in an experience when you're saying, oh, I'm actually wanting this experience. I'm wanting this fear experience.
Ok, y vas a ver todo el cambio que vas a experimentar una vez que te das cuenta que tú eres el quien está deseando estas experiencias.
And I have all of the power to change my perception of fear.
Y tengo todo el poder para cambiar mi percepción acerca del temor.
I can make a decision in my mind to no longer tolerate that experience in my mind.
Y tengo el poder para decidir en mi mente que ya no quiero tener esa experiencia en mi mente.
It's really helpful as you spend a lot of time, like on chapter 20 with Jesus, you get used to being shown all those desires for experience that you relish below the level of awareness.
Okay, es muy útil dar un repaso al capítulo 20, donde tú te das cuenta que tienes todos estos deseos de saborear, de disfrutar carencia o temor.
And then you really want to learn how consciousness itself, it's not personal. Consciousness relishes the experience of being weak to all the emotions and fear and guilt. It loves that. It's an addiction.
Y te vas a dar cuenta que la conciencia no es personal, simplemente disfruta mucho experimentar todas estas experiencias de carencia o de temor.
It's called self-delusion. You're self-delusional for a reason, because it's a chosen experience to be deluded that the bubble's real and the light is false.
Es una experiencia a la cual podemos llamar autoengañadora, porque ama el experimentar o saborear el sentirse separado, temeroso.
That as your relationship with Jesus, that's what the new covenant's for. You go through it, you ask him about each line. It's just a conversation.
Y es una conversación con Jesús en el cual tú le preguntas acerca de todo esto.
Jesus, do I relish an experience of existential terror? You can ask him.
Jesús, tengo un deseo de experimentar terror existencial.
And then when he shows you, this is the mind warp field. It's really the mind warp. He's going to show you.
Y este es, can you repeat that again, please?
This is where your mind's going to get blown out right here. What he's going to show you.
Okay, es donde tu mente se va, por así decirlo, explotar cuando veas que tienes estos deseos.
But it's exactly what he says in A Course in Miracles.
Es exactamente lo que dice en un curso de milagros.
If you start looking with him and you look closely, he'll start showing you how you think fear is happiness. Okay, this is warped.
Okay, si una vez que le pidas a Jesús que vaya a observar todo esto contigo, te vas a dar cuenta de que tú tienes el deseo de experimentar esta carencia.
Remember how he says in the Course, you flipped heaven and hell.
Recuerda lo que se dice en el curso, que tienes el paraíso y el infierno volteado, la noción de paraíso y infierno lo tienes equivocado.
See, moving toward enlightenment or seeing what's true, that the light is here, the ego, in order to keep itself in this bubble, is going to go, oh, don't go there. It's going to be bad. Oh, God's going to get you. It's going to strike you down with lightning.
Okay, sí, es como si el ego va a empezar a decirte una vez que tú empiezas a mover hacia la luz, oh, Dios te va a castigar con
Okay.
rayos.
So as soon as you start getting close, you're going, no, emotions aren't real. They change. Thoughts and beliefs they change. As soon as you get close to this green band, it seems like hell breaks loose.
Te vas a dar cuenta que una vez que empiezas a salir de la burbuja y cuando te pongas en el anillo es que es verde, el infierno se va a desatar.
It's like, I feel so much fear that God's going to, I'm going to be struck dead, whatever that ego is going to play, because we've made a decision that we want to try and stay in the bubble as long as possible.
Sí, vamos a tener tanto temor, o sea, experimentar tanto temor una vez de que estemos saliendo porque hay un deseo subconsciente de permanecer dentro del anillo.
However, do not underestimate your power as a divine being to skip the monopoly board. Do not go to jail. Go straight to desire.
Okay. Simplemente reclama tus poderes divinos y date cuenta que tienes todo el poder de salir de esos anillos.
Okay, you can ask Jesus. Jesus, is fear an indulgence?
Okay, le puedes preguntar a Jesús, ¿es temor algo en lo que yo me regodeo, algo que yo disfruto?
Does consciousness relish the experience of indulgence? The experience of indulging in fear?
La conciencia se puede decir que disfruta mucho el estar experimentando deseo.
So if you spend time and then you go down with Jesus, he's going to show you the little golem, the little devil down there going like this when it comes to fear.
Si te tomas el tiempo, te vas a dar cuenta y vas hacia abajo con Jesús, que tienes un pequeño monstruito, básicamente disfrutando todas estas emociones o percepciones.
And there's some kind of belief that it brings you safety or comfort or love or freedom, all under there.
Y hay alguna creencia insana del cual crees que esto te trae confort o seguridad o algo.
And that's what's hidden below the level of awareness in the subconscious mind. It hides these little treasures that it really loves pain and suffering, and it loves fear, and it loves guilt down there.
Y es lo que desea bajo este nivel de conciencia, o lo que esconde bajo este nivel de conciencia, que tiene todos estos deseos de experimentar y disfrutar todas estas percepciones de temor, carencia.
Okay, so he's given you the answer in honesty of God so that you can see it in innocence and see that God does not judge the bubble play.
Ok, y te da esa experiencia dentro de la honestidad de Dios, que tienes todos estos deseos.
He just says, come, let's just see that this whole thing was just a boo-boo in your mind.
Y te invita a que salgas de la burbuja para que te des cuenta que todo eso eran simplemente ilusiones en tu mente.
So you start with the light and you admit, okay, yeah, right. I see that there is a light here actually, and everybody has this thing.
Así que empiezas con la luz, honestidad, Dios, y te das cuenta de que hay luz ahí afuera.
You can contemplate light. That's helpful. It's in A Course in Miracles.
Puedes contemplar la luz, eso ayuda, eso está en el curso de milagros.
You can have revelatory experiences with, contemplating light.
Puedes tener experiencias revelatorias simplemente contemplando la luz.
But there's so many of these fractionated desires below the level of awareness that we need Jesus to help us hunt them down, to release them. That's why he's in charge of the atonement.
Ok, pero hay todos estos deseos fragmentados bajo el nivel de conciencia que mantenemos y
Okay, so he's in charge. So you're going to ask him, which desire do I need to look at so he can lead you gently out of the garden of hell?
Ok, y le podemos simplemente pedir o que nos muestre qué deseos tenemos que ver para podernos salir de este infierno.
So you use honesty of God. You admit the light's here. That's the holy instant.
Y es simplemente usamos la honestidad de Dios y empezamos desde ahí.
Then if you're,
y eso lo hacemos, lo llamamos instante santo.
Okay, and then you admit, if you're not at peace, you admit there's some desire not to be that light.
Y si no experimentas paz, simplemente admite que hay un deseo de no experimentar luz.
And Jesus he's saying, look, you need to look upon these desires innocently. Innocently. Do not judge that you have a desire. You're going to see all kinds of weird desires come out. Don't judge those.
Jesús simplemente te dice que observes todos esos deseos de manera inocente, sin juzgarlos.
And I go, God, I'm weird because I actually desire an experience of fear.
Y puedes decir, oh Dios, soy raro porque realmente tengo un deseo de experimentar temor.
Okay, it's a play in consciousness, but if you look at it, you'll start to see when you stay with the relishing of the desire, how it's not personal, it's completely impersonal.
Ok, es simplemente tienes que dar cuenta que cuando veas que tienes un deseo de experimentar temor, que no es personal, simplemente es un juego de la conciencia, no es personal.
Okay, you admit the desire to deny the light is here through fear, and you accept the miracle.
Admites que hay un deseo de negar la luz y cesas de negar la luz, o sea, cesas de hacerlo aceptando que el milagro que te da Jesús.
Which is to change the perception, the decision in your mind that you're deciding that having fear as experience is no longer valued.
Simplemente cambias tu percepción a darte cuenta de que no es realmente valioso tener este deseo, ¿no? Ya no lo necesitas.
So if you still experience fear, what you do is you join with a mighty companion, you pull out the worksheet and you just ask Jesus to help you. Jesus, I'm still relishing fear somehow. I need help releasing this from my mind.
Ok, si aún experimentas temor, simplemente pídele a Jesús o dile a Jesús, en alguna parte de mi conciencia todavía disfruto el deseo de experimentar temor.
Okay.
Pues,
Now, you'll hear beings who are enlightened talk that there's just no fear.
okay, can you repeat that again? Sorry.
You probably heard beings who are enlightened, quote unquote, talk about they don't have any fear anymore.
I got some problems with my kids.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Go ahead.
So you'll hear beings who are enlightened talk about they don't have fear anymore. They don't experience fear.
Porque de alguna forma se ha creído de que experimentar la iluminación es no tener esta experiencia de temor, no sentir temor.
Well, the first thing I want to say about that is all that has happened is they've ceased to deny themselves using fear.
Sorry, just a moment, please. I got sound problems here. Technical problems.
Okay. Just let us know when you're ready.
Hello.
So all that's saying is it's ceasing to deny who they are using fear. Are you losing your internet? You might have something on your computer that's taking bandwidth all of a sudden. That happens sometimes.
Yeah, can you hear me? Because I have to, yeah.
I can hear you completely.
Okay, I had to pull out my mic because there's some, that's not working there. But do you hear any static on the background? Can I
No,
go?
I don't. Okay, I don't hear any static now.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, you ready?
Yes.
Okay, good. So we're talking about how when fear falls from the mind, you see, when these desires are cleared out right here, the rest of this stuff called fear does not manifest.
Cuando todos esos temores se caen de la mente, todas estas cosas que están dentro de la burbuja ya no se manifiestan.
So it's just what they're talking about is there's no longer a desire for the experience of fear, and therefore it cannot manifest in experience.
Porque desaparece todo este deseo de tener temor y todo lo que ya no se manifiesta en el mundo físico.
Now, the best way to test that out is you go over here and you do the light test. You see this down here, and you just notice the holy instant. Is there any fear in the holy instant?
La mejor forma de experimentar esto es salirnos de la burbuja e irnos a la luz infinita y preguntar si hay algún deseo de experimentar carencia o temor.
Now, when you notice infinite light of being and you contemplate that, you'll see that there's no fear in the light itself.
Ok, cuando te sales y te experimentas ya dentro de lo que es la luz infinita, te vas a dar cuenta de que ya no hay un deseo de experimentar temor.
But a lot of beings who start contemplating light report that they experience fear.
Pero muchos seres que cuando están experimentando la luz aún siguen reportando experimentar temor.
But you can call it what it is. I desire an experience to dive back in the dream bubble and not admit I'm light.
Pero simplemente lo puedes llamar como realmente es, que es un deseo de regresar a la burbuja y no experimentar la luz.
That's what it means to take responsibility for your mind, is to be responsible for the choice in the mind to dive into the dream bubble.
Eso es lo que significa tomar control de tu mente, tomar responsabilidad de que tienes un deseo de no experimentar la luz.
But as you get used to talking to Jesus, when you're upset and you go, okay, show me the desire.
Okay. La manera que te vas acostumbrando de hablar con Jesús, le puedes decir, muéstrame el deseo.
You see how much there's relishing of that experience of fear.
Observas que tan hay ese deseo de experimentar el temor.
And you go to Jesus and you say, Jesus, am I ready for a miracle on the desire for the experience of fear?
Y vas con Jesús y le preguntas, Jesús, ¿estoy listo para un milagro acerca de deshacerme de este deseo de experimentar temor?
And then you hear a little no.
Si escuchas un no pequeño,
It's not because he's withholding the miracle from you.
no quiere decir que él está de alguna forma reteniendo el milagro.
It's because he knows you have not fully changed your mind on the value of fear experience. You still think fear is a valuable experience.
Él simplemente lo que se está diciendo es que todavía observa que tienes o que valoras el deseo de tener temor en alguna parte de tu conciencia.
So then you can ask him, okay, Jesus, I still want this fear experience. You'll feel it. You'll know you still want it.
Y le puedes decir, bueno, Jesús, si me doy cuenta de que todavía tengo este deseo, todavía lo quiero.
He'll show you how much you really like it.
Él te mostrará que todo lo que realmente te gusta. Ajá.
And then you'll still notice you won't accept the miracle because you like it so much.
Y también te vas a dar cuenta que no aceptas el milagro porque te gusta el temor tanto.
It's really profound. You can ask the beings here. Mary's laughing because we know, because we've looked enough and we see how stubborn we are to not change our minds. And even when it comes to fear and still want it.
Y es muy revelatorio porque nos vamos a dar cuenta que tenemos mucha terquedad acerca de retener el deseo, el temor.
Here's the bottom line deal. You have to be the one who decides you're no longer tolerating that in your mind.
Ok, esto se puede decir que se sumariza o se puede decir simplemente que todavía tienes el deseo de experimentar esto en tu mente.
Just like Jesus telling me, you're tolerating all these things. He's telling me.
Ok, por lo que me dice Jesús, tú estás tolerando todo esto.
And if you do the light test, you know it's true because the light test doesn't have any emotion in it, doesn't have any beliefs, it doesn't have stories, it doesn't have any desires.
Porque simplemente si te vas a hacer la prueba de la luz, te sales de la burbuja, te vas a dar cuenta de lo que estamos hablando, porque ahí no hay deseos de experimentar nada de carencia.
But through the habituation and the addiction to all these thoughts and stories and emotions and perception,
pero a través de la habituación o la familia, o habituarte o hacerte, pues, como sentirte confortable dentro de toda esta burbuja.
And relishing all this misperception, then you can't have whole perception of the totality of the supreme happiness that you are. You won't be able to see it. You'll just look at light and go, oh, that's interesting. That looks boring. That's what the ego likes to see when it sees the light. Oh, that's kind of boring.
Sí, que te vas a dar cuenta de que estás saboreando todas estas experiencias y percepciones que simplemente el pensamiento de experimentar la luz se te hace aburrido.
No, that's supreme happiness covered over by a cloud of desire.
Es simplemente la luz suprema siendo cubierta por un montón de deseos.
So again, you have all the power. You can accept the power to go directly desire, see the relishing of it, let it clear. And if you don't accept the miracle,
tienes todo el poder de darte cuenta de que tienes este deseo de experimentar tus deseos y que si no aceptas el milagro,
okay, that means you need Jesus to show you how you think that the desire you have is a means to get you heaven.
Ok, si ese es el caso, simplemente necesitas a Jesús que te diga y te muestre dónde estás tú creyendo que el tener todas estas percepciones y deseos significa para ti paraíso, el cielo.
And he'll talk to you about it. He'll tell you, you'll think fear is freedom, or you'll think, he'll show you right in your subconscious mind why fear keeps showing up if you ask him.
y él te va a mostrar dónde exactamente tú crees que el temor y la carencia es libertad.
And then once you start seeing how much it's really like down there in the subconscious basement of the mind, you'll start to see it's all the same. All these experiences that are twitches or sadness, or you'll start to see how consciousness plays to make them feel real.
Okay, y si quieres realmente ver cómo la conciencia o cómo está funcionando y darte cuenta que todas esas experiencias son lo mismo.
But that's why these light circles and the joining sessions are so important. He's teaching you to focus on what's important, which is the light first.
Okay, y es por eso que todas estas sesiones es importante porque él nos muestra que
do not spend any time in the ping pong ball bubble going thoughts, feelings, emotions, stories. Don't tell any stories. Just go, I'm not at peace. Show me the desire for this experiment. Show me what I need to see.
simplemente ya no disfrutes tanto estar dentro con todas estas percepciones dentro de la burbuja y dile a Jesús, muéstrame dónde yo estoy deseando todo esto.
And there's 100% probability it will not be what you think it is from all these stories in the ping ball machine.
Y te vas a dar cuenta de que no es lo que tú habías creído de todas esas historias dentro de la burbuja.
You know, they'll show you something like you desire an experience of wanting to feel that your brother's ripping heaven from you.
Te vas a dar cuenta de que tienes un deseo donde tú crees que tu hermano está robándote el paraíso o la felicidad.
You desire an experience where you're usurping the power of God.
Tienes el deseo de tener una experiencia donde where you are
Usurping the power of God.
estás usurpando el poder de Dios.
He actually knows that word in Spanish. That's amazing. The word for usurp in Spanish.
That's not common, you know, this guy.
Yeah. You know, you want to just take over God's power, basically. Pretend to be God.
Quieres pretender ser Dios y tomar su poder.
And until you've seen that, and then we start owning our divine power, that we don't have to play in the bubble. You know, we love playing in the bubble, then complaining about it with the talking head. These bad things are happening to me. You drop all that, just go, do not pass go directly to relishing a desire. You're going to see how quickly you can move through it, and you can move through it without fear.
Okay. Simplemente una vez que te des cuenta que tienes todos estos deseos, no tienes que pasar ya por ellos. And that was a lot to translate.
Yeah. Well, what if you start following Jesus so that he can, don't tell any stories or anything, don't interpret what's appearing.
Ok, si empiezas a seguir a Jesús, simplemente ya no digas historias, no interpretes lo que está pasando.
Okay, you stick to your one function. I don't feel like I'm at peace. That's your function.
Te mantienes simplemente en una función y diciéndote, no tengo paz.
And then you accept his function to tell you what desire is generating this experience, whatever it is. You don't know what it is. You just know you're not peaceful.
Ok, y simplemente te mantienes en tu función pidiéndole que te diga qué deseo tengo de no, cuál es el deseo que tengo de no experimentar paz.
Doesn't matter if your hair bursts into flames. You don't know what it is, and you're going to ask them, what is the desire for that experience?
It doesn't matter what.
If your hair bursts into flames and goes on fire, you still going to ask him, what desire? Show me a desire for this experience.
No importa si tu cabello se empieza a incendiar, es una forma de decirlo, ¿no? Aún le vas a preguntar, ¿dónde estoy deseando experimentar todo este temor?
And you'll start seeing as you're working with them, you go directly to the relishing, the desire, and you'll see they'll start burning out and you'll be really ridiculously happy and don't know why.
Y una vez que te muestre dónde estás deseando experimentar o saborear lo que es carencia o temor, los vas a ver cómo se evaporan, cómo se combustionan.
If you had one inkling of the joy that all these desires cover up, let me tell you, you'd be 24/7 joining.
Si tienes una pequeña idea de dónde tienes todos estos deseos en tu conciencia de experimentar temor o carencia, vas a estar muy feliz, vas a ser muy feliz.
You'd be dialing Jesus's number every 15 minutes going, I need to talk to you because I'm twitching. I'm not at peace.
Vas a estar llamando todos los días a Jesús en tu teléfono y diciéndole, hey, tengo todos estos deseos o sensaciones y no estoy en paz.
And then you'll see how really you get happier and happier as soon as that cloud of desire for hell gets cleaned out.
Te vas a dar cuenta cómo vas a experimentar felicidad una vez que todos esos deseos, o sea, nube de deseos empieza a aclarar de tu mente.
But the favorite thing of consciousness when it gets mad or upset or angry or whatever, it likes to go off by itself somewhere and hide in a corner and say, I can handle this.
Pero uno de los juegos o trucos de la conciencia es que una vez que experimenta todo esto, cree que lo puede aclarar por sí misma y se va y se esconde en alguna esquina de la conciencia.
No, he's saying, if you want the fast way out, you will join immediately. You will not spend any time in relishing hell. Don't spend any time in hell keeping it and playing around in the anger game.
Okay, si quieres salirte o el camino más rápido fuera de toda esta burbuja, simplemente empieza a darte cuenta dónde estás experimentando todo eso y pídele a Jesús que te ayude a salir de eso.
Okay, because we have joining sessions 5 nights a week. We usually have somebody available for joining express a couple of hours a day, or you can have a joining body. Just jump a join.
Okay, porque tenemos experiencias donde nos reunimos y hablamos de todos estos temas y simplemente tú te puedes agregar para hablar de esto.
That's it. That's the whole thing. Jump a join.
Eso es todo, es todo lo que se requiere, simplemente saltar a la experiencia, incluirte, acompañarnos.
We have a worksheet that will help you get help you need to find those desires to release them from your holy mind.
Tenemos una hoja de trabajo en la cual te ayudamos a ver dónde tú tienes esos deseos en tu mente y para que los puedas liberar.
So with that, we're going to open up the floor and see if anyone has any questions.
Con esto simplemente vamos a abrir el micrófono para ver si alguien tiene alguna pregunta.
Okay.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Greg.
Hi, Letty.
Hola a todos.
In this present moment,
En este momento presente
I'm falling asleep.
me estoy durmiendo.
So if I ask Jesus, what is this desire to fall asleep?
Así que le pregunto a Jesús, ¿qué es este deseo de quedarme dormido?
Because I can't join with you. I'm feeling sleepy. I want to be awake, but I want to join with you.
Porque no me puedo unir mentalmente con ustedes. Tengo este deseo de quedarme dormido.
What is this desire to observe
Well,
your
first,
your power?
let's just see if first, is it guidance for you to be with us today? Yes or no, Jesus?
Primero vamos a ver si hay algún deseo de estar aquí con nosotros, ¿sí o no, Jesús?
I hear yes.
Yo sí escucho que sí.
But it seems like something occurred today that's not quite cleared from the mind that was disturbing. Well, we're always going to feel fatigue if there's something unforgiven in the mind.
Pero parece que algo ocurrió el día de hoy y siempre vamos a experimentar fatiga si hay algo que está ocurriendo a nivel de la mente.
So, Jesus, did something happen earlier today that I have not released from my mind, is still on my mind?
Hay que preguntarle a Jesús, ¿hay algo que ocurrió temprano el día de hoy que todavía no he liberado de mi mente?
And then can you show it to me? Because we'll always, again, fatigue comes from all that mind noise.
Y me lo puedes mostrar que la fatiga normalmente surge de todo ese ruido de la mente.
You can just ask him, Jesus, am I relishing avoiding looking at something that I need to see?
Simplemente puedes preguntar, Jesús, ¿estoy saboreando el evitar ver algo que necesito ver?
Jesus, do I have a desire for an experience of wanting to be right?
Aún tengo un deseo de experimentar, tener la razón.
Does that feel true? Does that seem to ring? The relishing of desire to be right about something?
Suena eso como verdad, que tenga un deseo de todavía saborear alguna experiencia.
Yes.
Okay, so Jesus, I'm relishing this experience of feeling right. Am I willing to accept a miracle and change my perception that being right is happiness?
Jesús, tengo esta experiencia de experimentar, tener la razón. ¿Estoy disfrutando la experiencia de tener la razón?
So we just listen, everybody listen. Are we willing to accept a miracle yet? Are we ready for a miracle yet, Jesus, on being right, wanting, relishing in that?
Todos escuchen dentro de sí mismos su conciencia. Aún estamos deseando la experiencia de tener la razón.
Now, see, I hear no. We might need to go deeper on the relishing of being right. Jesus, do I relish the experience of trying to feel like I'm right?
Ahora tenemos que contar eso. ¿Estoy experimentando el deseo de tener la razón o estoy disfrutando el deseo de tener la razón? Aún.
Then you just start yawning it out, you know?
Y entonces ya lo
Start seeing the relishing. This is really, it's such an easy process because you really,
ya liberarlo.
it's so easy because all you're doing when you start seeing this relishing, you just start yawning out all that dead energy.
Y una vez que empiezas a ver ese deseo, te vas a dar cuenta que vas a empezar a manifestarlo como un bostezo, y eso es una forma en que liberas toda esa energía.
You end up being more and more relaxed.
Y terminas estando cada vez más y más relajado.
The cling on forehead goes away.
El aferramiento hacia eso se empieza a liberar, a disipar.
Kathleen calls it the forgiveness facelift.
Kathleen lo llama el facelift del
The forgiveness facelift.
facelift en español viene siendo lo que se hace, tratamientos de la cara que se levanta.
But all that's just a symbol of is it's just when your mind changes, it's just in the physicality, you know, you have brighter eyes, you just glow naturally because your natural state is you're a glow bug.
Y, una vez que aceptas el milagro y empiezas a liberar toda esta energía que estaba estancada, de manera natural tu cara va a empezar a brillar.
So Jesus, do I still relish the experience of being right?
Así que le preguntamos a Jesús si aún deseamos esta experiencia de tener la razón.
What are you hearing, Greg?
¿Qué es lo que escuchas, Greg?
Not as much, for sure.
No tanto, de seguro.
Well, just ask Jesus. You don't have to hear that much. Just go yes or no. Jesus, do I still relish being the experience of being right about something?
Pregúntale también a Jesús. Jesús, ¿aún saboreo la experiencia de estar en lo correcto?
Jesus, do I relish the idea of being right about something?
Jesús, aún estoy deseando la experiencia de tener la razón con respecto a algo.
You know, and everybody can check in and see if they've been relishing sometime today, being right about something.
Y todos nos vamos a dar cuenta, los que estamos aquí, que de alguna forma estamos también deseando en algún lugar, ¿no? de nuestra conciencia, tener la razón acerca de algo.
And am I wanting to be more right than happy? Jesus, have I wanted to be more right today than happy today?
Jesús, estoy deseando tener más la razón que ser feliz el día de hoy.
And what does he say?
¿Y qué es lo que dice?
Yes.
Sí.
Okay, everybody cheer because that's honesty of God. We got to support our brothers in honesty of God.
Y todo el mundo celebre porque es lo que experimentamos ahorita, la honestidad de Dios.
Okay, so now you can ask him, okay, Jesus, if I'm not ready for a miracle, can you show me where I think there's heaven in being right?
Y le podemos preguntar, Jesús, si no estoy listo para un milagro, ¿me puedes mostrar exactamente dónde yo estoy disfrutando la experiencia de tener la razón?
So the way you can do this is say, Jesus, I'm perfectly right, exactly the way I want to be. What do I think that's going to get me if I'm perfectly right?
Y si yo tengo la razón, Jesús, ¿qué es lo que yo creo que voy a obtener con eso?
What do you believe that'll get you if you're totally right?
¿Qué es lo que creo que voy a obtener al estar totalmente en lo correcto?
I believe, I think I hear that you think that safety is being in right.
Safety.
Your safety, your salvation.
Yep. Salvation is being right. You're hearing really clear.
de alguna forma piensas que la salvación significa que tienes que tener la razón, estar en lo correcto.
Okay. And so is that true? Can you get safety in being right and honesty of God?
Y eso es verdad, eso puedo obtener seguridad al tener la razón en la honestidad de Dios.
Ask me again, please.
Pregúntame de nuevo, hazme la pregunta de nuevo.
So Jesus, am I willing to change my mind that being right has value?
Jesús, estoy dispuesto a cambiar mi mente en creer que el tener la razón tiene algún tipo de valor.
Jesus.
You still feel like being right has value?
¿Aún sientes que tener la razón tiene algún tipo de valor?
Yeah.
Do you feel like it's heaven to be right?
¿Sí? ¿Crees que es glorioso tener la razón?
It's crazy, but I do.
Es algo, es una locura, pero sí,
It's insane.
es locura.
But it's helpful for all your brothers to see it because this is what happens in the subconscious mind. It
Pues,
chooses being right over happiness.
es muy útil que todos nuestros hermanos lo vean, porque eso es lo que ocurre en la mente subconsciente, que elige tener la razón en vez de ser feliz.
So you just sit with the relishing of being right and just see how you relish it more than God.
Simplemente permanece con observando ese deseo de tener la razón y observa cómo prefiere eso sobre Dios, ¿no? En vez de Dios.
Jesus, do I still relish being right more than I love God? Do I want that more than God?
Jesús, aún deseo tener la razón más que la presencia de Dios.
You just sit with the relishing. This works on everything. It can be being right. It can be fear. It's the same thing. You just sit with the relishing.
Simplemente permanece con ese deseo, con esa sensación y date cuenta cómo prefieres eso a Dios.
And you'll see under fear too, that we think there's heaven in that as well. We think that there's safety or comfort. That's how consciousness plays.
Y lo vas a observar también debajo del miedo. Si observas, está ese deseo de creer que eso es de alguna forma el paraíso o te da seguridad.
So what else do you get if you relish, if you keep being right exactly what you want? What else do you think you get from that?
¿Y qué más obtienes si crees que te obtienes algún tipo de beneficio con este deseo? ¿Qué más crees que obtienes?
The world.
What?
The world.
You get the world.
Obtengo el mundo,
Money.
dinero,
Power.
Power. I heard power too.
I don't like it, but if I'm honest,
No,
pero si soy honesto,
But see, we don't judge it. We just go, isn't that interesting? We get curious. Isn't that interesting? Jesus has said in A Course in Miracles that we want to be right more than we want to be happy. Can you see how this plays in consciousness? He's right, as usual.
Ok, no te juzgamos, simplemente se nos hace interesante porque es lo que dice Jesús en el curso de milagros, que preferimos todos los deseos en vez de la felicidad misma.
And consciousness keeps it because there's a perception that it gives consciousness power. You see, we get power from that.
Y la conciencia lo sigue manteniendo porque obtiene la creencia de que de alguna forma esto le da poder.
But this being right is more than just being right about, I don't know, whatever you have an argument about with somebody.
Esto de estar correcto puede ser algo sobre estar correcto cuando tienes algún tipo de argumento con alguien.
It's also the desire to be right that the light is dead.
También es que el deseo de tener la razón es también el deseo de creer que la luz está muerta o que Dios está muerto.
It's a desire for an experience to feel a body die.
El deseo de tener la experiencia de creer que el cuerpo muere.
But we don't see that because it kind of gets all hidden in the subconscious content.
Pero no vemos eso porque de alguna forma se esconde, se mantiene escondida en el contenido subconsciente.
So we can be saved by being right that our body's going to die.
Exactly.
Porque queremos estar seguros y encontrar seguridad en el deseo de que nuestro cuerpo va a morir.
Did I secretly want to die so I can escape? I don't want to live anymore, if I'm honest.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's okay. Go ahead.
Que secretamente hay un deseo de escapar a través de la muerte, el cual tengo si soy honesto, ¿no? Lo admito.
So there's a belief that salvation comes in death.
Hay una creencia ahí que la salvación viene a través de la muerte.
Now, you see, this is why it seems so intractable. This is how consciousness plays. It thinks the more it dives into the dream bubble, it can get saved inside there.
Ok, esto es tan importante verlo porque de alguna forma no es fácil de encontrar que cree que obtiene algún beneficio si muere dentro de esa burbuja de la conciencia.
But this is a trick in consciousness because no matter where you go, the ego will get you and follow you.
Ok, pero eso es un truco de la conciencia porque no importa dónde vayas, el ego te va a seguir.
So the only way out is to release the desire that it's valuable, that death in a body brings salvation.
Sí, la única forma de salir de esto, de liberarte de esto, es darte cuenta de que tú crees que hay un valor en tener esta creencia sobre la muerte.
So Jesus, do I relish the experience that death in a body is salvation? Do I just love that?
Le puede preguntar a Jesús, tengo o valoro la creencia de que la salvación es la muerte en el cuerpo, morir en el cuerpo.
Was that a head going like this up and down? Yes.
Es-
Okay, so this is honesty of God. This is what he's giving us as a great, great gift, because if you look deeply in your mind, unless you're supremely happy, this is what's playing underneath the level of awareness.
Y esto es honestidad de Dios, porque si nos damos cuenta, es lo que realmente está ocurriendo más abajo del nivel de conciencia.
Okay, so we're going to go down in the elevator, Greg. Okay, go down the elevator with Jesus into the subconscious mind until you see the devil down there smiling with his horns pop out about this. He loves it. See how much it's loved.
Vamos a ir en el elevador hacia abajo junto con Jesús y darnos cuenta que ahí está este demonio con cuernos generando toda esta experiencia.
See, it's staying with that relishing that's going to wash out the perception that it's valuable. Just stay with, it's just energy. It's an energy and a play like this, but if you stay with the relishing of it, it burns out.
Si permaneces observando esto, eventualmente va a desaparecer este deseo de experimentar la muerte o la salvación a través de la muerte.
And you'll also notice that if, Renee, can you go get him? And also, that's our dog barking out there. And also, you'll notice that with the relishing, if you stay with the relishing and the wanting, the wanting, the wanting, it just gets lighter and lighter. And you used honesty of God. Honesty of God releases a lot of it too.
Si te das cuenta que si permaneces así observando este deseo, todos esos deseos inconscientes, eventualmente
Renee.
desaparecen.
So the honesty God really helps. That releases a lot of it, just being honest that it's relished.
Okay. La honestidad de Dios simplemente libera todos estos deseos cuando se es honesto.
And just sit with the wanting. You just bake that wanting out of there. I want it. I just admit you want it and just let it. You feel it in every cell sometimes. You feel it moving up the back of your neck going shh.
Sí, simplemente permanece con esta experiencia de deseo y date cuenta como mientras más permanezcas con eso, empieza a evaporarse, ¿no? De tu vida, liberarse.
Kathleen had the perfect term. She said, you just relish with abandon.
You just relish with that?
With pure abandon. You just go ahead and just relish it.
Okay.
Just abandon yourself to relishing.
Ok, simplemente hay una persona que dice que nos podemos experimentar este deseo, pero sin ningún tipo de límite, nos abandonamos a la experiencia.
You see, it's no fault. He's not saying, he's not beating you up because you wanted this experience in the world. You just admit you wanted the spirits in the world and you admit this does not work. And I'm just going to let the relishing of it go.
Ok, porque no hay nadie realmente que te está juzgando, pero sí es importante que observes estos deseos inconscientes para poderlos liberar.
Do you still relish it?
¿Aún estás disfrutando esa experiencia?
Okay, but we don't want to be happy with that because a little bit like that is 100% hell.
Pero ya no queremos estar felices con eso, porque un poquito de eso es como, es el infierno mismo, 100%.
We want to be completely intolerant of any desire for experience of hell in our mind.
Vamos a ser completamente intolerantes para cualquier deseo de experimentar infierno en nuestras mentes.
Am I willing to see this differently, Jesus, that I could never find happiness in being right?
Estoy dispuesto a ver esto, Jesús, que nunca voy a experimentar felicidad al querer tener la razón.
That I could never find happiness and peace through death of a body. Am I willing to see that differently?
Que nunca voy a experimentar paz en lo que es la muerte del cuerpo. Estoy dispuesto a ver eso.
Am I willing to see that the love of God and all the peace, everything he's given me is right here, right now?
Estoy dispuesto a ver que todo lo que quiero de paz está aquí y ahora en este momento.
That Jesus loves me so much, he's going to hold my hand through the whole thing.
Que Jesús me ama tanto que va a sostener mi mano a través de todo este proceso.
But part of this love is you have to move into divine function and start following him fully.
Pero parte de esto es que tienes que moverte a una función divina y seguir todo el proceso.
This is the only thing and your only interest in this life is following him fully. You're going to always feel bereft unless you're in full following.
y que tienes que hacerlo completamente porque vas a sentir como que algo te falta si no lo haces de manera completa.
Because we're dead when we're not following. Following is the celebration of life in its totality.
Porque el seguir es una celebración, seguirlo completamente es una celebración de la vida.
Following is accepting all the love of the Father exactly as it is right here, right now.
Porque seguir a la luz es el aceptar todo lo que Dios nos ofrece en el aquí y en el ahora.
Following is seeing that all the life, all the love of the Father is now.
El seguirlo, seguir la luz, es que es darse cuenta que todo el amor del Dios, del Padre, está aquí.
So today we talked about you have to get in the boat. You can't have one foot on the dock and then one foot on Jesus's boat. You see, and just feel, because consciousness loves feeling split.
Lo que estamos dando cuenta o estamos dándonos cuenta el día de hoy es que tenemos que seguirlo de manera completa porque no podemos estar con un pie en el deck, en el muelle y el otro en el bote con Jesús.
The only way is you got to be in 100% in. You can't be 99.9% in God's boat.
Okay. Tenemos que estar 100% dentro del barco de Dios. No podemos estar 99%.
You have to say to Jesus, signed, sealed, delivered, I'm yours.
Can you repeat that again, please?
You have to say to Jesus, there's a song called Signed, Sealed, Delivered, I'm yours, like a letter.
Oh, okay.
Sign it, seal the letter.
Ok, tenemos que estar dispuestos de decirle a Jesús que firme y que sellemos la carta, sellando la carta y decirle, soy tuyo. ¿No?
Okay, you lick the letter, you put the postage stamp on, and you send it, and you don't take it back. You say, I'm yours, Jesus.
Ok, estamos dispuestos ya, tenemos que estar dispuestos a sellar la carta y decirle a Dios, soy tuyo. Y no esperar que no la regrese.
And you'll see, the ego will put up all kinds of screaming, but as soon as you're more determined to let go of all the play, the ping pong in consciousness and focus on that one voice, you'll see it can go very quickly.
Si mientras estés dispuesto a ver todo este juego dentro de la burbuja y pedir la asistencia de Jesús, te vas a dar cuenta que se va a ir viendo todo esto de una manera muy rápida.
Jesus, am I willing to accept a miracle to change a perception that salvation through death has value?
Jesús, estoy dispuesto a ver y cambiar mi percepción, que la percepción de la muerte tiene algún tipo de valor.
So you think you can get love through death?
Porque llegamos a pensar que podemos obtener amor a través de la muerte.
Jesus, do I think I can get love through death of a body?
Jesús, ¿crees que yo todavía creo que puedo obtener amor a través de la muerte del cuerpo?
So this is a really deep one to look at.
Eso es algo muy profundo al cual lo que estamos observando.
So that's the confusion in the mind that somehow salvation and love comes through actually death of a body. That's about how messed up we are.
Eso es una confusión que está en la mente subconsciente, creer que la salvación viene a través de la muerte del cuerpo. Es como realmente estamos algunos confundidos.
Just 1 minute.
Un minuto.
So as long as there's a relishing of a desire, and we can join, or you can join with someone here to go deeper on this. As long as that's relished, it will be an experience that death is the solution. That's the ego solution.
Ok, mientras siga habiendo algún tipo de disfrute del deseo, seguiremos creyendo que la muerte viene siendo una solución.
The ego solution is always death is the solution.
La solución del ego es que siempre la muerte va a ser la solución.
It wants to kill you. You know, it really likes that, to tell you that, yes, you will be peaceful once your body goes pink.
Te quiere matar, es lo que quiere hacer. Vas a estar, te hace creer que vas a tener paz una vez que tu cuerpo muere.
But I tell you what, you go ahead and ask him, Greg, because you can talk to him. Say, Jesus, will I be peaceful after the body drops?
Y eso lo puedes preguntar tú directamente a Jesús. ¿Voy a tener paz una vez que el cuerpo caiga?
Yes or no?
¿Sí o no?
In honesty of God and the light of divine being, once the body goes, will I be peaceful?
En una honestidad divina, una vez que el cuerpo cese de vivir, ¿voy a tener paz?
It's impossible, see?
Es
It's not,
imposible.
peace never comes from the body dying. The peace is ceasing to deny divinity right here, right now.
Okay. La paz nunca viene a través de la muerte del cuerpo. La paz viene al darse cuenta que la luz está aquí y ahora, la divinidad está aquí y ahora.
Peace comes from accepting the miracle, the change in mind, that death has value.
La paz viene de aceptar el milagro y darse cuenta de que dejemos de creer que la muerte tenga un valor, ¿no? Tiene valor.
But as long as there's a confusion in the mind that death equals love or salvation, it's going to be a pervasive, it pervades all experience that death is the way out.
Y mientras sigamos equiparando con la muerte con algún tipo de valor, esta creencia va de alguna forma a esparcirse por toda nuestra conciencia.
But all that is relishing spending more time with the devil.
Pero todo lo que eso es simplemente el disfrutar, estar más tiempo con el diablo.
So let's just ask Jesus so we can be clear. So Jesus, let me see if I have this straight. So what I'm really relishing is spending more time with the devil.
Así que vamos a hacer una pregunta directa. Jesús, ¿lo que realmente estoy deseando es estar más tiempo con el demonio?
Because I think it's fun.
Porque creo que es divertido.
This is for all of us to see how much we really relish dancing with the devil. It's a play. It's just a little play. No, nobody gets hurt, but you, except you're going to feel a lot of pain because it's not natural.
Eso es para todos nosotros, es para que podamos ver si realmente estamos disfrutando el estar danzando con el demonio, creyendo que la muerte es natural.
Okay, just ask Jesus. Jesus, do I have even this little crack of light under the door that I could be wrong about this? Could I have just let a little crack of light in that I could be wrong about this perception?
Le podemos preguntar a Jesús si puede haber algún tipo de orificio que se esté filtrando la luz acerca de esta creencia que tengo.
You letting it in? Okay, now just let the crack, the light get more and more and more. Okay, let the light get brighter and brighter, brighter in your mind.
Así que solamente deja que la luz se haga más brillante y más brillante en tu mente.
And then you back a dump truck up to the light and you just put that whole relishing, the whole relishing of salvation through death, and you just put that in the light and see what happens with it, just for fun. Let's just see what happens.
O sea, simplemente toda esa luz dirígela a esa creencia que puedes obtener la salvación a través de la muerte y ve qué ocurre.
What happens when you put that whole idea that death, the salvation comes through death and the light? What happens to that?
¿Qué pasa cuando pones la luz acerca de esa idea que tienes de que la salvación viene a través de la muerte?
Just hand it over to Jesus. Just gently put it in his hands and see what happens.
Solamente entrégaselo a Jesús, en las manos de Jesús, y ve qué sucede.
Does death exist in the light, Greg?
¿Existe la luz? ¿Existe la muerte dentro de la luz, Rick?
Is the light going, hey man, if your body drops over, you'll be safe and happy?
Yeah, yeah.
Is the light saying that if your body dies, you'll be happy? Or what's the light saying?
¿Qué es lo que está diciendo la luz?
Is the light just the light and it's here?
La luz simplemente está aquí y está.
Do you need a body to keel over to see that the light's here?
Necesitas matar al cuerpo para darte cuenta que la luz está aquí.
No, no,
No.
no.
So you can just put the whole idea, see, it's a concept. It's a concept that if the body keels over, I'll be at peace. But the peace is the light peace. How can the body keeling over bring peace when the light's already here?
¿Cómo puede ser que matar al cuerpo puede ser significar paz cuando la paz ya está aquí?
You gotta wait. Pardon me, I have to talk to the dog.
Un segundo.
Okay, we're back. We had a dog conversation.
Tuve una conversación con el perro.
What'd you say?
¿Qué es lo que hice?
Sometimes we have to say no to the ego. I am not going to tolerate this idea in my mind.
Algunas veces tenemos que decirle no al ego. No voy a tolerar esta idea en mi mente.
I am no longer willing to tolerate this concept in my mind.
Ya no estoy dispuesto a tolerar este concepto en mi mente.
You'll see the speed of the miracle when you get that definitive with the ego. It's like Jesus, you got to be like Jesus in the desert when Satan showed up, he said no.
Tienes que ser tal como lo fue Jesús en el desierto cuando se mostró el demonio, le dijo que no.
Yeah, I can do that. I can do that. I'm willing. I want it.
You do want it.
Yo
This is,
no te lo quiero.
and it's just how confusion plays in the mind. So you just keep putting that idea in the light and see how long it lasts.
Es como la confusión juega en la mente y simplemente lo pones ahí bajo la luz y ve qué tanto puede durar.
What happens when you put the idea of death in light, in pure infinite light? What happens to the idea of death in light?
¿Qué es lo que pasa cuando pones la idea de la muerte bajo la luz? ¿Qué tanto dura ahí? ¿Qué tanto puede durar?
The darkness disappears.
La oscuridad desaparece.
Keep putting it in the light.
Keep putting it in the light. You're going to get ridiculously happy.
Mantén mandando luz a eso y vas a ser ridículamente feliz.
You clear out these desires. You're just sitting there. You don't know where that happened. You just You're it. Your happiness itself.
Solamente date cuenta que eres la felicidad misma.
You're not even thinking about death because you're too happy just being happy. And it's fine if the body keels over, you're still happy. I don't know if that's an advertisement, but but David would say that too. He'd say, you know, and if this plane's going down, that's wonderful.
Y ahora mantente siempre feliz. felicidad misma, como dice
Because
David, ajá,
we
David,
have to, it's a trick. It's a trick.
es un truco.
Okay. The trick is that death is in a body. No, death is trying to murder the light out of our awareness.
El truco aquí es creer
Okay.
que la muerte está en el cuerpo. No, el truco es creer que la luz puede, que la muerte puede reemplazar a la luz.
Jesus, do I just relish trying to kill the light out of my awareness?
Jesús, estoy disfrutando la experiencia de matar o sacar la luz fuera de mi conciencia.
And he'll bring you down there and you'll see how much you just want to murder that light so badly. You just want to kill it.
Te va a llevar a tu inconsciencia y te va a mostrar dónde simplemente quieres matar esa luz.
And you really relish wanting to feel like it can kill you. Did you actually relish that running around like God's going to strike you dead? You'll see that in your subconscious mind.
Y vas a ver que estás disfrutando cómo crees que Dios mismo te quiere asesinar, ¿no?
Like Jesus says in a new covenant, who with this many desires could ever rest in peace?
Y en el nuevo convenio, Jesús mismo dice que si quien con todos estos deseos puede experimentar paz.
So, Greg, are you going to accept this a miracle for all of us? Take us
Yes,
all to
I
heaven.
am.
Así que vas a aceptar este milagro por todos nosotros.
Yeah, I feel the light in me. I was feeling like a real warm sensation in my chest, and I was like, yes,
Sí.
it's time to be strong in the
Yes. Yes.
light.
Sí, siento toda esta luz dentro de mí, estas sensaciones de calidez dentro de mi cuerpo y sí,
It's okay
está
for
bien.
me to join with the light in Jesus.
Yes.
Está bien que yo me una a la luz junto con Jesús.
Yes.
Completely.
What?
Completely.
Yes. That's where all our happiness is.
Es donde todo está, toda nuestra felicidad.
So thank you for this deep dive into truth, and see that when you admit it, see, it starts clearing the dust bunnies out of consciousness.
Gracias por este clavado que te echaste a tu inconsciente para aclarar toda esta situación.
And just for our Spanish speakers know what a dust bunny is.
Y para nuestros amigos que hablan español, para que sepan lo que es este dustpan, es como...
You know that fuzz that collects under your couch, you know, and it's like a fuzzy little balls.
Esta sustancia que se acumula debajo de los muebles, que es como algodón o algo así como...
All these things are just little dust bunnies. They're nothing. Jesus is going to show you they're nothing.
Entonces todos estos deseos simplemente son como esa borra que se acumula debajo de los muebles que hay que quitar.
You are God's son. You know, we are God's son. We are it.
Somos el Hijo de Dios, somos eso, lo que andamos buscando.
And we can all choose, like Greg, to be strong and say we're not going to put up with all this hoo-ha inside of our mind.
Y vamos a elegir, tal como Greg lo hizo, de ser fuertes y que no vamos a tolerar todas estas cosas que están dentro de nuestra mente, esta borraja o basura.
What Jesus said was, the only thing to do with the desert is to leave it.
Como Jesús decía, la única cosa que tenemos que hacer con el desierto es abandonarlo.
And by looking at these desires directly, you're going to leave all that fear and desolation behind.
Y al mirar estos deseos directamente, simplemente los estamos ya abandonando, los estamos dejando atrás.
So thank you, Greg. We love you bunches. We love all of you. We're so grateful for you bringing your holiness here with us.
Gracias, Greg. Los amamos a todos. Gracias por traer su santidad aquí.
Thank you so much. I love everybody, and I love Jesus, and I love my life, and I love the light, and I will be strong in keeping the ego. I'll give the ego to Jesus.
Yes.
A todos. Sean fuertes. Gracias.
He says the last quote, one of the last quotes in the book, will you not give these desires to me, to the light of truth?
Una de las últimas citas del libro dice, no me vas a dar me vas a dar estos deseos a mí, a la luz de la verdad.
And see that you rest eternally in the peace granted you by the Father.
Y vas a descansar eternamente por la paz que te va a otorgar el Padre.
Yes.
Gracias, Jesus.
Gracias.
Gracias, Jesus.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Love you.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. Thank
Buenas,
you.
buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.